Today we're going to be going over how to maximize your credit card strategy. Now in this video we're going to be going over the current cards that I have as of today and what were the pros and cons of each and how they were benefiting me at the time. And then after that we're going to go over how I would redo it to start all over again and why I will go in that specific order. My first credit card was the Discover It Chrome card. This is the only card that was able to approve me for anything, and I was approved probably for maybe I think it was $1,000 at the time. But I didn't know anything about credit cards, so I didn't know what were the pros and cons of it. And so now looking into today, this is a card I would not recommend for anyone to start with, just simply because they just have 2% on gas and it's limited to how much you can use. So definitely this is not a card that I would recommend, but it is on my list. And then I got the Lowe's credit card and the American Furniture. Now both these cards ended up helping me just simply because of the fact that I had to remodel my entire home that we're currently in. I didn't want to pay a big chunk out of my wallet basically for everything all at once, but they did offer a 0 interest for 12 months. I believe it was for both cards, but I ended up paying those off within that exact 12 months because we didn't want to pay interest. So that's just something that did help me at the time. But now the con of those cards of having them is that they just sit there. Literally, if I go to Lowe's for little small things, yeah, they might have a small promotion here and there. But other than that, these cards really don't benefit me in my everyday to-day spend. And then I got the Jared and Helzberg credit card. So these two cards are kind of like a funny story, to be honest. So at first I thought the Jared credit card, when I got, I was getting a good deal on the diamond ring. But I think they really played me. And they were saying that this is the best deal you can get on this ring. You won't get this anywhere else. And so I fell into it. I was like, okay, well, yeah, run my credit. I should be good to get this credit card and pay for this card. Did the whole thing, and then when I came back home, and I was like, man, I didn't even bother looking for another card somewhere else. So it just irked me really bad, just knowing that I literally just bought something without looking anywhere else. And so a lot of my buddies were telling me to go to Helzberg because they had good deals there as well. So that's where the Helzberg credit card comes in play. And basically what happened that I got this guy named Carlo, shout out to him if he's watching this, which would probably be random if he was. He ended up helping me out, got the exact same ring, and I told him, well, man, I just bought the exact same ring here at the Jared store. And he asked me how much I had paid for it, and I showed him the numbers because, he's trying to see if he can get me a better deal. So it turns out after we did that, he says, man, they oversold you. And so for the exact same ring, he ended up being $3,000 to $4,000 less. So I was like, oh, sign me up for a Helzberg card, because definitely that was a better price. And not even that, I was able to add more detail to the ring that I wanted for the same price range. So that's the story between the Jared and Helzberg credit card. And so definitely look around before you actually apply for a credit card, because that did end up affecting my credit score for applying for 2 cards. Up next is the Window World card. So this card, for people that don't know or what Window World is actually, is a window company. So I don't know if that's just a Texas thing or if they're located in other states or maybe the southern states. But I even had to replace the windows in my house. And it was something that caught me off guard because I was looking at my electricity bill. And for where I live, it's not that big of a home. So paying $500 to $600 on an electric bill, I thought that was just the norm. And so it just came across me to ask my parents, because my parents have a bigger home. I was like, how much do they spend? And they told me they only pay $200 to $300. And I was like, what? So I ended up having to figure out what was going on with the house, and then come to find out it was the windows were so old that they were single pane. And so single pane windows are in Texas known to be a no good thing, because here in Texas we need the double pane. So that just somehow the technology within the windows, they exert the heat out. So it was definitely something that I needed to get done within the house to lower that bill. Up next, I got the Wells Fargo Active Cash. So the Active Cash card is literally a basic card that's just a cashback card. It's 2% off of everything. Well, not 2% off, but 2% credited to your account that you can put towards your statement. But the downside to that is that I really don't like about this bank is that when you get your rewards on it, you can't transfer it to an external bank. You have to only use it with them. So if you don't have a checking account with them, you cannot deposit that cash into a checking account either. So you either have to use it on one of your purchases, or you have to use it on a statement balance. But to use it on a statement balance is kind of tricky, because if you don't use it how can I put it? If you don't use it within a certain time frame, then your billing cycle will then set, and you have to wait the whole another billing cycle in order to use your credit. So I don't know if I made sense out of that, but just know it's really complex, and you can use it just to reward yourself as a statement, but you have to really time it right to really use your full amount. Because if you don't use it, let's say you want to close out that card and you have rewards, you have to then request a check, and then that check will be sent to you, and it takes about like a week or two to use. As for my last card, I got the Capital One Saver. So now, if you're interested in getting a full in-depth video on this, I did make one probably a couple days ago, so I don't know what section this will be on. I don't know if it's going to be on this side or this side, but I will link that video so you get more in depth of what you get out of this card. But definitely a good first pick, in my opinion, if you're interested in getting or barely getting into the credit card game. Now that you know all the cards that I have, I'm going to show you how I would redo it if I can start all over. So this first section is going to be over cash back, and the second section is going to be over travel. So I'll leave in the timeline below just in case you want to skip forward. The first card in the cashback roadmap, I probably recommend the Discover It Cashback. This card earns 5% cashback in rotating categories, 1% in all other purchases, and then also it has a unlimited cashback match at the end of your first year. So this is pretty cool. So let's say you max out your 5% on the first rotating categories, which is 3 months. The max you can get is $75. So at the end of the year, they'll match that and give you that credit as well. So this is the only card that I know that is actually currently doing this. So definitely this will be a first card to get, and especially with Discover, because Discover is more lenient for people who are trying to get credit cards. Up next is the Citi Double Cash. This card is considered a catch-all card as well at a flat rate of 2%. So this is basically the same card as the Wells Fargo's Active Cash, but here's the catch. So with the Citi Double Cash, you get 1% when you purchase and 1% after paying off the statement. So that's a plus on their end because they try to like motivate people to make their payments. That way they're not paying their interest. But I'm not saying that they're trying to help out everyone, because obviously they have to make their money for people who don't pay their statements in full. So just keep that in mind, that if you plan on getting this card, the 1% you will get when you purchase and 1% after you're paying your statement. Just remember that. Following Citi Double Cash, you now have the Citi Custom Cash. So with this card, you can get 5% in your highest spending category of up to $500 every month. So that means you can get a max of $25 cash back on this card. So you can select groceries, dining, gas. I don't know what other categories is on this card, but I know those are the three main ones a lot of people use them for. But I would say use it for gas, because to get 5% in cash all the time, that's what I would use it for. But hey, if you need it for groceries, get 5% cash back on your groceries up to $500. It's completely up to you. But that's the thing about this card, you can choose your category rather than the Discover It Cashback card, where they select your 5 rotating categories, and this one you select it based on your highest purchase. And for the last card, you have the Capital One Saver. As you already know, this is 3% dining, groceries, and entertainment. And there is, like in the last video I mentioned, there is a $200 sign-on bonus when spending the minimum of $500 in the first 3 months. So this card is literally dining, groceries, and there's no rotating categories, so you're always going to be getting that 3% every time you use this card. For the travel roadmap, I would recommend the Chase Freedom Unlimited. It's considered a catch-all card at 1.5%, 3% in dining, 5% booking through Chase Travel Portal, and they also have a $200 sign-on bonus after spending $500 in the first 3 months. So this card is literally like the beginner to travel card. Like if y'all don't know about the rule, it's called the 524 rule. So the 524 rule means is that if you get 5 or more cards within 2 years, you will automatically get denied by Chase. It's just a hidden rule. It's not written anywhere. It's just something that's there for Chase. So if you want to go for the traveling side of things, this is a card that I'll recommend to start off with, because let's say if you do the cash back first and you're already going over 524, and then you're trying to do into the travel, then it's going to be kind of hard to be getting to the travel points. But now with this card, it's also considered a cash back card. So if you want to start off with this card as a cash back card, then definitely this is a good intro card to get into. But I tend to see on Reddit a lot of people get denied for this card when they're first signing up. So that's why I recommend either the Saver or Discover, because they're more lenient. After you get the Chase Freedom Unlimited, you can now then get the Chase Freedom Flex. But sometimes you can get one or the other first on these cards, because I consider this to be a beginner card as well. I know a lot of people tend to get this card first because of the 5%. But the 5% is also rotating categories, and then you also get 3% in dining, 5% in booking through Chase Travel Portal. You also have $200 sign-on bonus after spending $500 in the first 3 months. This card is, I mean, just kind of similar to the Discover It card, basically. It's just with this one, you can actually transfer your cash back into points in another card. So that other card is actually called the Chase Sapphire Preferred. So Chase Sapphire Preferred is 3x in dining, 2x in travel, 5x booking through Chase Travel Portal, and then they also have the 60,000 bonus points after spending 4,000 in the first 3 months. The Chase Sapphire Preferred is like the final piece for the Chase Trifecta. So the reason why they call it the Chase Trifecta is because you have the Unlimited, you have the Freedom Flex, and then you have the Preferred. Having those 3 cards, you can then merge all the cashback and convert them into the Sapphire Preferred. So having that as the final piece, you can then transfer to flights, hotels, and so on and so forth. So it depends on how you want to use those points. So this card is a must need if you're wanting to travel. You can still do travel with the other cards. It's just you won't be able to get the full benefits of like getting the discount flights and getting the promotions of what Chase offers. As for the last card, Capital One Venture X is 10x when booking hotels and car rentals through Capital One, and then 5 when booking flights and vacation through Capital One, 2x on all other purchases, and then also opens up transfer partners. On my last video, I did go over the Capital One Duo. So the Duo is considered the Saver and Venture X put together. So the reason why they call the Duo is because the Saver card, that's a cashback only, it's the 3% in dining, 3% in groceries, and 3% in entertainment, can then be transferred into the Venture X into miles. So then those miles can be transferred into their transfer partners. This allows you to maximize your points, try to get cheaper flights, and so on and so forth. But I kind of starting to value more the Chase points just simply because their travel partners are just a lot better. But you can go around it. There's a lot of loopholes you can do, and maybe down the line I'll probably make a video of how to do the traveling with Capital One and how to use their travel partners to book domestic flights. I hope you found this video informative and like help you understand like the difference between cash back and travel. It really depends on how you want to maximize your money, really. At first, like I mentioned, I was all about cash back, but now that with my fiance, she wants to start traveling, so now I had to maximize travel points, and I'm starting to see that you're actually getting more value of your points through traveling. I know I've seen a lot of people talk about it on YouTube, and I was like, man, like, who's going to be flying that much and this and that? And it turns out it's pretty nice that, you know, you can take a vacation here and there just based off your daily spending. But, I mean, hope, you know, you choose what path you want to do. And let's, like always, let's try to keep things simple and see you on the next one.